Well, hi, and welcome to episode 29 of the Social Strategy Mum podcast and live show. Super excited to be here with you again. And today I wanted to take an episode to talk about the lessons that I learned from watching the amazing miniseries on Netflix called Self-Made. So this is a miniseries. It's just 4 episodes, and it is all about America's first self-made female African-American millionaire. And I started watching this miniseries with my partner. It was her suggestion, actually. I didn't know the story, and I didn't really know what I was getting myself in for. But within about 2 minutes of starting the episode, I realized that we were onto some serious gold. And out came my phone notes section, and I was madly typing down notes that I wanted to share with you guys from the series, things that it sparked in me and really made me think about when it comes to us being entrepreneurs, building our businesses, being mums, doing the juggle, and all of those kinds of things. And so what I wanted to do in this episode is just share with you 4 big lessons that I took away from that mini series, but that are so relevant to growing any business. So let's get into it and let's talk about what these 4 lessons are. So lesson number 1 is absolutely something that I have spoken to you guys about before, and that is the power of telling stories to help you sell. Within the first few minutes of the first episode of Self-Made, you see the most amazing example of how a story brings people to a purchase. Because what happens is we actually watch the main character share a story about a product that she is selling. Now, when she shares this story, she literally drags her audience in because she fundamentally understands exactly what they are struggling with, and she can tell a story of how she struggled with the same thing, and this product was what caused a transformation. So I really, really want to encourage you to think about the power of stories in your business. Are you sharing stories with your audience? These can be testimonials, which is kind of what this story was, but these stories can also be more than that. They can be personal stories, your own stories. They can be stories of clients. They can be other stories that people will be able to connect with. But ultimately, this self-made millionaire builds her business around a story that people can connect with. And that is the story of dealing with your hair when you are an African American woman, and how difficult it is to get it straight, to get it to cooperate, to get it to do all the things that you want it to do so that it can look beautiful. And within that first couple of minutes of the series, she absolutely hits the nail on the head with a story that people can relate to. And you literally watch the people in this crowded marketplace get drawn towards her by the story that she shares and the fact that they share with her that same fundamental problem. And she just gives us such a good explanation of how this particular product has helped her to overcome that problem. And in the end, they all want to buy it. And it is ultimately the first step on her journey to being the first self-made African-American female millionaire. So that is the first lesson that I want to share with you from the series. The second one is a lesson that you may have heard people talk about before. And certainly I have been in the situation in my previous business where I had the attitude that I could simply build it and people would come. For me, it was that I could build an online course and people would just buy it. That didn't turn out to be the case. And so the build it and they will come strategy is something that you'll hear a lot of people talk about. And it's basically this idea of going all out and creating something massive without actually testing that the market wants it, and without actually thinking about how you are going to market it and whether it's truly solving a problem. Now, in the series, we see this happen where she goes out and basically creates this most amazing salon in a new city, and it's all amazing and she's got everything that she needs, but ultimately doesn't quite turn out like that, because when she opens the door, nobody actually turns up. Now, there's absolutely no denying that Madam CJ Walker had a product and a service that people wanted, but she was in a new market and ultimately people didn't know about her. And she hadn't taken the time to go out and build that reputation before she spent a lot of money building something. And so what I want to really, really encourage you to do is take a lesson from that. And it's a lesson that a lot of entrepreneurs learn somewhere along their journey. And that is that we really need to validate ideas before we spend lots of either money or time or both building them, because ultimately the market decides what it is going to buy and what it is going to need, and we need to have messaging that actually resonates with people to be able to sell something. So I thought it was so interesting to see someone who became so successful go through that same build it and they will come model, discover that they did not come, and then have to pivot and build their marketing and go back to their story and that fundamental connection piece in order to be able to actually move that bit of the business forward. So I wanted to share that with you, because so often I talk to service providers and course creators particularly, but even product-based businesses who go out and spend so much time and money developing a course or a product without actually testing that that really is what the market is going to spend their money on. It's not just what they say they want, it's what they're actually going to spend their money on. And this is why a lot of course creators that I talk to will pre-sell courses or create parts of courses and then begin the sales process in order to actually make sure that what they're offering is what people actually want to buy. So that's the second lesson that I took out of there, and I hope that that resonates with you, and I hope it stops you from tripping up on that same thing that Madam CJ Walker tripped up on, which is the idea that we just build something and miraculously people will find us, which of course doesn't happen without the marketing. The third thing that I want to talk about is that she really taps into this power of connection and community to sell. Okay, ultimately she trains her salespeople from within communities and uses them to sell her product. And that is why she gains traction so quickly, even in a brand new market. Okay, so she builds that community, she builds that connection piece where people feel like this is going to work for them, and they feel like the sales process is less salesy, more helpful, but also highly, highly relevant, because it's solving a problem that they absolutely have. And the way that it's talked about is in the way and in the words that they would use to talk about that problem. So do not underestimate the power of connection and community when it comes to selling your product and service. That's the third lesson that I took away from the mini series. Now, the fourth one is such an interesting one, and this is something that comes up for all of us as we travel along our business journey. And this is comparisonitis, and this ability to just choose to go your own way. Throughout the series, Madam CJ Walker has one particular lady that is her direct competition. And at times it feels like she is almost chasing her down just to prove that she can succeed better than Madam CJ Walker. It turns out there's a little bit more to that story and a little bit more to what happened between them early on. There's some rivalry and there's some interactions and all of those kinds of things. But what I want you to really think about is how much time and energy you spend comparing yourself or your product or your service to other people in the market. Now, I'm not saying not do some competitor research. That is totally fine. You can get out there and research your competitors. But what I am talking about is getting into a dialogue and a mindset with yourself where you are focused on they're doing the same thing. I don't know if mine's any better. Oh, they're doing that. Maybe I should be doing that too. That is the comparisonitis. That is being so focused on what somebody else is doing that you actually forget your own uniqueness, and in the end you forget to go your own way. And it's so interesting to see that theme just coming up over and over again throughout the 4 episodes. The fact that she compares herself with that one particular person, that she's constantly looking at what she's doing and wondering if she should be doing the same thing, that she's feeling threatened, and that she isn't confident in her own point of difference. So if you haven't taken some time to really nut out what makes you different, then now is the time to do that. And I want to challenge you that what makes you different is you. So if you are not in your marketing, if you are not optimizing your uniqueness in your marketing, now is the time to do that, because that is the one thing that will absolutely make you stand out from the crowd, that will absolutely make you different from everybody else, because you cannot possibly be the same as somebody else if you are being 100% yourself. All right, so they were the 4 lessons that I learned from the mini series. If you haven't watched it, I would really, really encourage you to head on over and watch the mini series Self-Made. So I talked about the power of a story. I talked about the idea of build it and they will come, and how that doesn't always turn out to be true. We talked about the power of connection and community when it comes to actually selling. And we talked about comparisonitis and its ability to rob you of the opportunity to just go your own way, do your own thing, and be uniquely you. If you are looking for more of this, if you know that you need to create content that cuts through the noise on social media, I would absolutely love you to come along and join me. From tomorrow in our Facebook group, Juggling Motherhood and Business Building, I'm going to be going live for a 3-day live training series. This is my Cut Through the Noise content live training series. This is about creating content that makes you stand out from the crowd, that helps you to build your business, and that ultimately allows you to show the F up when it comes to building your business on social media. If you would like to join me for that 3-day live training series, find that link somewhere around this video or audio. Click it and sign up and come along and join us. I would absolutely love to have more of a conversation with you about how you can absolutely stand out on social media right now. All right, I'm going to leave it there. That is episode 29 of the Social Strategy Mum podcast. Thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you again next week.